and maybe put that one right over here.
But again, you raised the issue of work. These protests are quite well organized. They always have well-made signs. They have T-shirts that are made up. So professionals, deep-pocketed individuals behind these groups.
So we'll be sticking with this story, but meanwhile, some other breaking news coming in thick and fast, this time on Ukraine. According to reports, Putin wants direct White House talks before a Ukraine ceasefire, but says he is open to a deal in principle. Trump says a special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is in serious discussions in Russia. Also, our very own Edward Lawrence reporting that the U.S. has barred other European countries and allies from buying Russian oil. We will continue to keep you posted on this as it comes in.
It's Lady Gaga.
Let the mayhem begin.
Welcome to Gaga Radio.
Explore themes of chaos and transformation.
I'm taking over exclusively on SiriusXM.
A channel featuring her personal picks.
To you, from me.
And exclusive stories from her new album, Mayhem. Gaga Radio. For a limited time. Now on Channel 15. Or at home on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
We planned our investments well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
Don't they know they're sitting on a gold mine?
Nope, they don't know that if you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you may be able to sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Don't lapse or surrender your policy before finding out what it's worth. Call Coventry Direct at 800-236-3400 or visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-236-3400. Call now.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. That's ZipRecruiter.com/news. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey Jeff, looks like your business is really booming, even in a tough time for businesses like ours.
Hey Mike, yeah, thanks to LendSeek, our business was able to take care of some outstanding bills and taxes, and to purchase inventory and expand our product lines.
Wow, you know, my business needs working capital, but only from a reputable company that I can trust and count on. How does LendSeek work?
Fast and easy. Just apply at lendseek.com. Their AI lending platform gave my business access to over 100 funding programs with one simple application. And it costs nothing to apply.
At lendseek.com, you can receive business funding with no collateral, no prepayment penalties, and no restrictions on how you use the funds. Whatever your funding needs are, seek no more. Our AI lending marketplace has you covered. If you've been in business at least 1 year with annual revenue of at least $250,000, you could get the funding your business needs in as little as 24 hours. There's no obligation, so apply today at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-4953. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4953. That's 800-575-4953. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When I heard the words, "You have advanced terminal cancer," my heart sank. I wasn't given long to live. Then by the grace of God, I found the Invita Cancer Centers. They revolutionized my cancer treatment, and I'm alive 24 years later to tell my story. My name is Sandy Yozapovic, and as a wife and mother of 2 beautiful children and 1 grandchild, I'm proud today to be an ambassador for Invita Cancer Centers. To hear many more stories like mine, visit us at Invita.com. That's ENVITA.com.
Real patient experience. Compensation was not provided for sharing this story. Individual results may vary. Consult your physician.
Have you discovered the nation's leading radio channel devoted to agriculture? Set your Sirius XM favorites to Rural Radio Channel 147 today.
Thank you very much for tuning us here on Commodity Rep Kickoff.
For 24/7 agribusiness and rural lifestyle station.
NASA and SpaceX delaying the Starliner rescue mission until tomorrow after running into some technical difficulties last night. Ashley Webster joins us from Florida's Space Coast with more. Ashley.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brian. You know, that space rocket, SpaceX Dragon capsule with the Falcon 9 rocket attached is sitting right now just waiting to go. We now have a next launch period for 7:03 p.m. tomorrow night. It was scrubbed yesterday right up until 44 minutes until the official launch time. We thought it was a go, but no, there was a problem with the hydraulics at the launch pad itself. It was actually the clasp arm which kind of keeps that rocket in place on the launch pad until it lifts off. We haven't heard from NASA yet whether that's going to be fixed or has been fixed. You're questioning whether they could have gone today? No, because downrange the weather wasn't good. Wind and rain off the northeast coast, perfectly fine here, but not downrange. So again, 7:03 tomorrow night is the next opportunity. And I gotta tell you, for the poor astronauts stranded up on the International Space Station, we have Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. You know, I was thinking probably another day, doesn't matter. They've been up there now 280 days when they started on an 8-day mission, so they can probably wait until next week. If everything goes to plan and they get the launch tomorrow night, those astronauts could begin their journey back to Earth by Wednesday, beginning next Wednesday of next week. In the meantime, it's always safety first with NASA and SpaceX, quite rightly so. Fingers crossed for a launch tomorrow night, guys. Back to you.
All right, Ashley, thanks for that report, sir. Good to see you. Video sharing platform Rumble is making a significant move into crypto, purchasing Bitcoin worth up to $17 million. President Trump is vowing to end the U.S. government's war on crypto. Okay, so Kevin, we've been talking a lot about this crypto reserve thing.
Right.
But you've been saying if you're looking at that, it's the shiny object. You're missing the thing that really matters with the regulations. Say more.
We've been trying for years to pass any crypto regulation, and we're at the eve of maybe the first bill. So let me explain the 3 big verticals we're trying to get done. The first is a stable coin act, which is a digital payment system. The idea of backing a digital dollar with the US dollar, having it fully transparent, having it auditable, and that you can pay for things with this digital dollar. Not only domestically, but I could buy a Swiss watch in Switzerland with it and wire it over in seconds at a fraction of the cost that a big money center bank charges me. Now, this started with Jill DeBrandt 4 years ago. She called it the Stablecoin Act. Then Haggerty started his. Remember, now we got a Democrat, now we have a Republican Haggerty. His is called the Genius Bill. They started dating and then they got married. The 2 of them are together now. First time bipartisan, maybe it passes next week as early as next.
Can I stop you there? Because I just want to throw this open. That to me sounds like the beginning of a central bank digital currency. And I get the utility of it in terms of the payments that you're talking about. But if you digitize the dollar, don't you open us up to all the government tracking your purchases, categorizing, cataloging what you're doing? I'm thinking like social credit system stuff in China.
They do it now on your credit card.
But do we want more of it?
But you already have it. In other words, if you have to know your client. If you're doing a transfer of capital in any payment system in America and you get subpoenaed, that company is going to provide the data on who sent it and who received it. This is the same thing. By the way, this is a private sector initiative. There's no federal developers here because I don't want the Fed actually advancing technology. I want the private sector. So a company like Circle in Boston is one of the most American advanced ones, all American, and it has USDC. There'll be others. The point is it's transparent. And you can feel safe that it's backed by U.S. Treasury bills that are under 92 days in duration. This Haggerty thing, along with Gillibrand, we got to applaud their initiative to get this one done. Then after that, the crypto structure bill, which tells you finally, is Ethereum a commodity or security, and all the rest of crypto.
Right.
One thing at a time. But let's just get this easy thing done on the Stablecoin Act.
This just sets up a regulatory framework to allow a U.S. stablecoin backed by our greenback that would then be issued by private entities. It is not a central bank.
And as an investor, what it signals me is I better get some ownership of all the North American exchanges. So finally I should buy some Coinbase. Finally I should buy some WonderFi, more of it. I own a ton already up in Canada, and I'm looking at the Mexican ones because it's going to allow the whole currency, the whole continent is going to be flowing with this digitized dollar right across the border.
So Taylor, Kevin loves the regulatory move here. I think a lot of crypto investors were looking for the reserve to be a bigger thing, to be an active trading platform. It doesn't appear to be that. And Bitcoin, as a result, has kind of been in the doldrums here for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, so
how do you think that plays out?
Early days, right? Because we talked about the Bitcoin stockpile, right? I'm not getting those confused, right? And then
reserve.
The Bitcoin, thank you, the Bitcoin reserve, and then it was the stockpile is every crypto that you want, X Bitcoin. I think that's what David Sachs says, and that was more the trading account. Bitcoin was more a long-term buy and hold. I think what's interesting is you guys were hearing from the Binance CEO, who he actually says that Trump's sort of pro-crypto stance and pro-crypto regulation is going to fuel everyone else around the world to get on board with this. And I think this could be an opportunity for the U.S. to be a real leader in this, and we probably haven't been. We think about Europe and China, we're a little bit ahead of us on this. Now, he's talking his own book, because the Binance CEO wants there to be more pro-crypto legislation.
By the way, we just let him out of a federal prison. You know, he went to jail here.
Yes, the CEO of the U.S. arm.
No, this whole CEO of Binance, CZ, was back in the UAE, but he spent his time in a federal. He's a felon running that exchange. This is a difficult challenge for him.
Yeah, but saying the U.S. could lead here on this.
Jackie.
I'm just surprised because there was a movement maybe 2.5 years ago where places like Miami, they were using Bitcoin to pay people, and they were saying you could buy things using Bitcoin. I was expecting to see a more practical application.
That's why you'll love this bill, USDC. You just use by the way, if you're a money center bank, you don't like this at all. The fees are going to be slashed. You're going to save so much money in fees. You got to applaud that.
So that's what this does. It takes it more mainstream. Okay.
You're going to pay. You're 2.5% in a credit card. Now you just go, and you're paying maybe 5 basis points.
Bitcoin's a speculative asset.
Not USDC though.
Not USDC, but Bitcoin is. So if you're paying, like when Miami was paying people, and they didn't know what they were doing. I mean,
they were paying at 16,000,
right,
90,000.
Right, the people on the receiving end knew that was great, but it was when it was in its early days. It was like, oh, they just wanted attention. As everybody in Miami just wants attention. It was the equivalent of wearing like lucite heels and a bikini.
That's what it's like in Miami on the beach.
Yes, indeed.
Spoken from a man who knows. All right, coming up, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's stirring up the biggest backlash of them all? A closer look at Disney's Snow White nightmare after this.
Trump trades, rate cut trades, AI trades. All these trendy trades are hot, but they don't compare to the trades that stock market gurus John and Pete Najarian find every week with their unique option strategies. Winning strategies they put into their newest book, It's Not an Option. And today, this exciting book can be yours for free.
I'm John Najarian. Don't buy another stock before reading our newest book. And I'm Pete Najarian. When you see the returns you could be making on options versus stocks, you'll realize that in today's market, buying and holding stocks alone It's not an option. After years on TV as the go-to options experts, we wrote our new book with simple, beginner-friendly option strategies that could take your investing returns to a whole new level. And today we'll give you a copy for free.
To see real stock versus option trade examples and get your free copy of John and Pete's new book, It's Not an Option, text MARKET to 80555 and just cover shipping. Text the word MARKET to 80555. Text MARKET to 80555.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're one of the millions of people enjoying the weight loss benefits of GLP-1s, now you can enhance your weight loss journey with Replenza. Replenza is physician-formulated nutritional support designed for GLP-1 users, so you can look great and feel great while you lose weight.
It is a game changer. I've got energy. I feel great.
Nothing else worked for me like this.
Replenza is formulated for GLP-1 users to support muscle recovery, digestive health, and skin elasticity.
Replenza is refreshing and light. I am obsessed with drinking it in the morning. It's delicious. I love it.
With Replenza, you can look great and feel great while you lose weight. Get your GLP-1 Daily Replenisher at Replenzalabs.com now. That's Replenzalabs.com, spelled REPLENZA labs.com. Replenzalabs.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. As with any dietary supplement, consult your healthcare provider before use, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or taking medication on a regular basis.
During these uncertain times, have you considered owning tangible assets that preserve wealth and shield against inflation? Meet Global Coin, a trusted leader in precious metals and rare collectible coins. This week only, Global Coin is offering the iconic 2025 1-ounce Gold Eagle, America's official gold bullion coin, graded in flawless MS-70 condition for just $2,999. This unbeatable dealer price includes free shipping and sales tax. As a special bonus, the first 100 Gold Eagle buyers will also receive a 2025 1-ounce MS-70 Silver Eagle absolutely free. That's two of the world's most sought-after coins for an exceptional value and a wise investment. Act now. This exclusive offer is available only while supplies last. Visit globalcoinoffer.com or call 888-782-4406 to secure your Gold Eagle and bonus Silver Eagle today. That's 888-782-4406. Global Coin. Value you can hold. Trust you can count on.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. We know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about MediShare, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And MediShare works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-79-BIBLE. That's 855-79-BIBLE. 855-79-BIBLE.
At Certipro Painters, dreaming of a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. At home or at work, we'll make your happy place your own. Certipro Painters, that's painting happy. We proudly use Sherwin-Williams paint.
Feels like home.
Safe from the Queen here.
The Queen stole everything from all of us.
We're gonna need your help.
It's time to restore our kingdom.
Is the Disney castle crumbling? Much backlash and negative reviews over the new live-action remake of Snow White. And now Disney is denying red carpet interviews, has kind of rolled back on the whole premiere. But why? Could it be because of comments like this from the star of the flick?
It's no longer 1937. She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Great. But that approach doesn't seem to be working too well for the House of the Mouse. Over the last 5 years, box office receipts are down 37%, market share down 11%. Kevin, what do you make of this? So that was the star. Gal Gadot plays the evil queen, and they're trying to deflect attention to her because she's pro-Israel, which I find deeply offensive. And then the 7 dwarves aren't even actually humans. They are portrayed as, they were created through CGI and then voiced by human beings.
You know, I think Disney's finding out something, as the investors are, I'm one of them, that when a story is classic, like Snow White, don't mess with it in any way. It worked 50 years ago. It worked for 5 generations of children. Nothing was changed until this. Don't mess with the core of what that is. And whether it's Mickey Mouse or Snow White or Goofy, there's a reason kids love them when they were 3 and 4 years old, and that's your franchise, and that's the profits for the company. Don't mess with it. Don't try and change it for the political environment of this generation or this time or this woke thing or that woke thing. That's, you know, everybody's giving either advice. That's mine. Go back to the core.
So I would just add to that and say, first of all, it's not even Snow White really anymore. To your point, they changed it so much, it's a completely different movie. So maybe you should call it something else. But what's, they're catering to what they think the core base is. That's what they want to see. I think people spoke out in this election and said that is not what we want to see. And I actually can't believe that Disney is doing this again, that they keep doubling down on the policy when their stock is down so much. The ticket sales on this film were down, what, 37%? I am just floored.
Well, we're not helping right now.
That they did this.
Is there an argument, though, Jackie, that their base has moved? As a mother, I'm not their base anymore. For a $200 ticket to go to Disneyland, I'm priced out of the market as someone in the middle class. They have shifted so far upper income and left,
like uber elite,
that middle class isn't their base anymore. That could be an argument. I'm priced out of Disneyland, and I don't do Disney Plus for my daughter because I don't trust the content. Who then is the target audience? Because I don't think it's regular people like me anymore.
If you're Disney and mothers of little girls is not your market, you are toast.
I don't trust the content.
You're toast if you're Disney.
You know, it reminds me of something that happened. Disney's not guilty alone on this. Many of these companies are doing so much market research to try and figure out what content to put out there. Years ago, when I was working for Steve Jobs, we were talking about a title called Oregon Trail. And I said, Steve, I want to spend $1 million of your dough to do some market research in 110,000 school buildings. And he yelled at me. He said, they don't know what they want. I tell them what they want. And I looked at him and said, ooh, like what a dick. But he was right. He made a decision about what he thought Apple should do, and he did it. And he didn't ask for anybody's advice. It takes a lot of guts to lead a company that way on intuition, but he was very successful. And maybe we need to see more backbone like that in CEOs today. Just, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And if you don't like my leadership, whack me.
Can I just say this? Over the course of the last year, I'm just looking at the chart here, Disney is down 14%. When you go to stock
Please
market,
don't remind me.
the stock market, the S&P 500, that was up well over 20%. They're like missing the mark somewhere majorly here. After we saw, what was it, Anheuser-Busch with Bud Light, we saw this at Target. Where else did we see it? We've been talking about Costco. It's just, I hear you that this core base may be changing, but I don't know who they are, and it's not resonating in any tangible way. This is a business. They need to make money. They need to deliver for shareholders.
Well, the reason they've been so valuable for so long is because they got a 2-year-old interested in their product, and that person stayed interested.
And their kids eventually.
Decades. But you know what? Okay, so maybe is this just a crack of a good sign? The fact that they don't want to promote this terrible movie they now have to put out there. That
why would you invest in said terrible movie? You don't want to promote it. It's crazy.
They put that investment in place several years ago, right? So now they're stuck with the thing and they're saying, let's just pretend it didn't happen.
Iger has
maybe that's a good sign.
He can pivot. He's proven multiple times he can pivot, and he came back after they whacked the last CEO. So this is, by the way, this movie is a rounding error on their balance sheet.
Right.
If they just turned it off, it wouldn't matter on earnings at all. So at the end of the day, they won't have to spend on the advertising.
And it was a rolling garbage can, because those comments that we played from the start, that was a while ago, and it just kept getting worse.
I guarantee you her agent is calling her now. Saying, do not say those things to the mouse. Don't say that about the mouse.
I will say, around COVID, this was a $200 stock. You're at 96, 97 right now. Now, there's been a lot of structural shifts in the economy since COVID, but that doesn't look good.
Please, you're breaking my heart. Don't talk about
Sorry
the stock price.
We can do watches next block.
I'll just fix it down. How's that? Reports are Oracle is now the leading contender to help run TikTok in the new deal. Kevin, what's the latest?
So there is lots of rumor and innuendo out there, more than just Oracle. Basically, cutting to the bone on this deal, we need a conversation to occur between Xi and Trump as to whether or not the Chinese want to sell any part of TikTok, the brand, the content, the algorithm, whatever. They haven't had that narrative yet. Remember the last time the showdown occurred was in 2000 in India, and they shut it down. So what could actually happen now is on April 5th at midnight, it would be shut down, and a new negotiation would start with maybe the sale of car parts, if you want to look at it that way. Do you want to buy the brand? Do you want to buy all the content? Do you want all the accounts? Can you even buy the algorithm? Because Xi has to decide. He's got the super right, the super voting share, to decide what the company should do. And until that narrative has happened, it doesn't matter what rumor comes out, including Frank McCord and our bid. We can't do anything until Xi decides what he's going to do.
You're kind of tired of this. It's like, you know what,
I got to tell you, it's the most fascinating deal I've ever been involved in. It's unbelievable. It's the crazy. Have you ever seen a private company get an order from Congress on a specific company and then the Supreme Court rule 9-0? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And I'm thinking to myself, I love it. I love it. Bring it on. This is so crazy. I love deals like this. It's legacy stuff. I'm not even in it for the money anymore. I just want to get to the finish line.
Yeah. And an update on the anti-Israel protest. Those protesters breaching Trump Tower. It is all but broken up. 150 to 200 protesters, 50 to 70 arrested, and they are being loaded into buses right now. We're waiting on a police update that will happen any moment now. Let's see if how long they're held. If they're taken in, those arrested, will they be charged with anything?
Right, this is our second to last show every single day. I was talking to a couple of guys this morning, and I had an analogy of what this feels like. Are you interested? I'm going to check first. You want to know what this feels like for me? I'll tell you. Today's podcast sponsored by Mina. Go to shopmina.com/watch. 47%. Someone asked me, they said, brother, how does it feel? And I said, Michael, I need your I want to make sure it's not simple. It feels like going to a funeral for someone who's 107. Like some of the people getting, that would be 150. But that's actually very funny. Unfortunately, it's costing us a ton of money. But it does. It's like you're sad you lost this amazing person. But at the same time, you're like, 107? Teresa, am I right? You're like, you won. The game of life. You have successfully won. If you made it 107 years, give us a thumbs up to see Teresa in the studio today. The lovely Teresa from Westwood One. Grand Dame of Westwood One. We call her Margino, the Mid Whisperer. She's very good at that kind of stuff. You won at life. So the funeral is kind of sad, but at the same time, that's how I feel. I feel like you and I built this thing together. The P1s who've been here for 10 years, listen to my first show, there's no question we built this thing together. So I feel so happy about and honored to be part of this. But, yeah, man, I don't know, sometimes. not know what is happening. There's a rumor there will be people in the studio. You're gonna have to. I'm not teasing it. I'm just. As you know, it's the same. Before I head off, don't worry, I'm going out. Back here, what I was watching all day with Mark's supplies, listeners, not just to say out, thank you. I went in with the reading. Ivermectin, the drugs, the bug, Mary? Always choice. Want to stock up. Mom's like, at some point, the crisis is going to hit. It's just a matter of prepared or not. Better have emergency products, not need them. They need them, not have them. That's why I asked my agent for one final time to bring back the bundle. She was ready to get one. Got your emergency food 3 months ago. What appreciation. Here was multivitamin. We just heard it's called a. Teresa, you've been in this business a while. I know it's good when you invented it. You're the first people ever did it. It's incredible. Fact checkers! Fact checkers! I want to thank also Mina, Haley, Vince is in the studio again today. He'll be taking over at 10 a.m. on Monday with the huge show. His first guest, Tucker Carlson. He's got another, basically not another couple. He's got a really sick lineup. If I can use that word next week, I don't mean sick, but I mean, you're going to be so 10 a.m. right here on the Rumble Channel. Haley and me wrote up yesterday. Live Search app had 30, was it top 50 overall, and number 14 in the news yesterday. All right, let's get to the news. I thought government shutdowns were terrible. That's what we were told by the Democrats. What did they tell us, folks? If government, quote, shuts down, which it really doesn't shut down. If it shuts down for 5 minutes, anyone know what's going to happen? Grandma's definitely dead. Grandma's going to die. She's not going to be 160. She could be 60. But without government, they're definitely dead. Puppies, kittens as well. Maybe your goldfish. They're all dead. Everyone's going to die. People are going to be pushed off cliffs, into meat grinders, wood chippers, and everything else. If government shuts down, it doesn't really shut down. It is the apocalypse. It is the instant apocalypse. Nothing will happen and life will come to a halt. Which is weird because government shut down before and none of that stuff is actually happening. But the Democrats have told us, you shut down government, it is the time will stop. So here is prominent Republican conservative senator. He tells me this guy's name. I didn't get the news from you. Prominent conservative Palestinian Jew, which I was unaware of. Chuck Schumer? Yeah, we're Palestinian flag. No. They haven't said it. But here's prominent. This guy's a House Freedom Caucus guy. Stuff sense. Chuck Schumer telling us how government shutdowns are now a good thing. How we should shut government down. I know this guy can run. This is
funding the government should be a bipartisan effort, but Republicans chose a partisan path, drafting their continuing resolution without any input from congressional Democrats. Because of that, Republicans do not have the votes in the Senate to invoke cloture on the House CR.
Notice how I can obviously be kidding. This is liberal Democrats in the Senate, but you almost have to. You don't have to like it, which I certainly don't, but you almost have to respect the grift going on. How he says Republicans don't have the votes to stop cloture. What he's saying in a backwards, did you guys catch that when you listened to it? He doesn't want to state the obvious, which is the Democrats are withholding the votes to pass the bill. So he's blaming it on Republicans. Did you guys get that? The Democrats have a magical, almost magical power, I don't mean that in to use language in a way that makes you to believe the opposite of what's happening is actually happening. You see what he did there? He could just state the obvious, we're not voting for this and the government's going to shut down. He doesn't say that. Republicans have not successfully acquired enough of these spreadsheet-type transactional vote numbers in order to invoke the court, because he doesn't want to say the obvious, we're shutting the government. I thought we weren't shutting. I thought the government. litany of horribles. You ever hear the term parade of horribles? Everyone's going to die if the government shuts down. So now the Democrats who told us we need government. We need government in every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life. Listen up, you can't hit a baseball without government. Now all of a sudden the Democrats will shut the government down. Shut the government down, pardon? Once you learn to dissect political mechanisms, you never go back. How we handle them is right. Notice the language. He doesn't want to say it. What's the solution? Folks, the solution is to get out the message. It's not the Republicans who should listen. Whether we agree with the spending levels or not, I don't. But we didn't have the votes. You will reconciliation. Hey, the Democrats are the ones not voting to keep the government open. They're voting to shut it down by simple logic. Here's Chuck Schumer again. Again, misdirection is how they do everything. I want you to notice again how they use euphemisms and word games to try to play games with things that are actual facts. 3 plus 3 equals 6. There's no way to word game your way out of it, okay? Here he is talking about Elon and Social Security funds. So Elon Musk and the Doge found out, before you hear this clip so you understand, that there's a lot of fraud in Social Security. Here's how it's working. There are people calling Social Security offices and changing over the phone, routing them. So if we say get Social Security, Michael calls and says, hey, flip it over to my account without his authorization. Elon and his team found that this is a real problem in fixing the phone system. Listen to the way Schumer characterizes it. It says, oh, we don't have evidence of all this fraud. Really? I'll show you the receipts. Come on,
Americans certainly support eliminating waste, but they don't want to see their Social Security benefits taken away or rely perpetuated in hopes of just slashing them to give tax breaks. Millionaires pay for by the middle class. As Musk lies shamelessly about Social Security, he conveniently ignores the federal government already conducts an audit of Social Security every single year. He cherry-picks data to suggest that tens of millions of dead people are getting checks. This is a lie, like so many of his other lies.
It's a lie, folks. It's a lie. Made it up. It's a lie. No fraud in Social Security. Except if you go back to this Office of Inspector General report from August 19, 2024, which says what? Yes, Justin, you're correct. He's like, I didn't say anything. I know. Which says there is, shockingly, fraud in Social Security. They found nearly $72 improperly paid. That doesn't say $72. It says $72 billion. That's a lot of money. Do me a favor. Look up the entire state budget. Tell me when. So let me read this Inspector General. Inspector General reports, this is by the way 2024, August of 2020. Nearly $72 billion is improperly paid. Recommended improvements go unimplemented. Through several audits, Social Security Administration, Inspector General, made dozens of recommendations to prevent improper payments before they occur. Also to correct existing improper payments. However, to date, many of those recommendations remain unimplemented, leading to continued improper payments. 72 billion. This is not an Austin Powers number. Says 19 points to round up, 20 billion. So you're talking about over 3x the budget of an entire state in this great United States of America. That's the fraud in the system. 3 times the entire state budget. Sounds to me like kind of a PFD. You see, folks, there's a problem outside of the obvious fraud. The problem with this is you have people who pay into the system. What do you mean? I mean, like their entire adult lives accurately paid into the system. Just nonpartisan office of Inspector General of Court. Because of what I told you. There are Democrats up on the Hill who just don't care about them. Because they feel like this. Ready? I do this on your birthday. Once you find out how much government fraud, public corruption is going on in the federal government, they're afraid you'll never trust government. That's why they want to get aid into Social Security distribution in the first place. Folks, the Democrats used to pretend to care against fraud. How do we know this? Hat tip the great Mays War. Mays, guys, are we going to miss Mays? Mays, can we get a little live from you? We love you. If you're not following Mays War on X, at MAZMOORE. This account, folks, we love hat tips here. We are not in the space. There are amazing creators. I'm going to tell you something, guys. Is there anyone who wants to be I don't care if you're telling me second. Great, fantastic. Who else? Western Lensman is fantastic. I hate to leave anybody out. There's so many. You've got the Riegelman, my buddy Chicago Ray, Insurrection Marty. You're just so many. Oh, of course, Catcher. Fantastic. The Gradient, Tom Elliott. If you're putting together a show, shout out to her. Here is Mays War, a great montage of how the Democrats, prominent Democrats, used to claim at least that they cared about waste, fraud, and abuse until we actually found it.
We cannot keep our promises on Medicare. We simply must make the cuts in waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare so that the benefits and the premiums are untouched.
There is an enormous amount of waste and fraud and abuse in this government. When there is waste and fraud, you have an administration who should also be on top of that situation.
If we're going to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare, it does mean we're going to cut some of that out. And when I hear my friend Dave Camp say, you cannot cut money out of Medicare, you can't just get up there and say, we don't want to cut anything out of Medicare. We want to cut the bad stuff and keep the good stuff.
This is such a loser argument for them, the Democrats, precision management, to go to the wall to shut the government down. It's an absolute loser argument. Donald Trump has them so discombobulated that they're arguing against now bedrock Democrat collectivist principle. We need the government. What do we do without the government? That's why we're asking you to pay 40% of your money to the government. We need it so much, we're willing to shut it down. That argument just doesn't work. As a conservative, you don't want any of these things to kind of shut down. You want it efficient and lean. But it's not against your fundamental ethos that I don't need government in my life. I need, I need family, God, country, police department, and court system. Just a train wreck argument. By the way, where did I get Chuck Schumer's Palestine? Senator Schumer. This is one of my favorites in the show. Producer Mike. Right curve ahead. This is a banger of Producer Mike. Nice job. Producer Mike is well aware of that. Here's Donald Trump. This is where we have that.
And Schumer is a Palestinian, as far as I'm concerned.
so bad. That's why they put a lot of them in pills as a kitchen. You get a fruit and a vegetable and a powder that's good, that actually tastes good. I mean, there's berries and stuff. And Miles figured out. It's called Field of Greens. I feel like I was on the journey forever. Also, I lost after I came down with cancer. I had to lose weight, so I lost 28, 30 pounds, and I used to eat, which is a great problem. So Miles wanted to thank the audience. This is only for this year. So folks shut down their website, stock up, 40% off. 40% off is a thank you to Bongino One. Here's the website, brickhousenutrition.com/. Whatever nutritional supplement you need, Brickhouse Nutrition has it for you. Use code Dan for 40. Get that wrong. Not 4, it's 40. They're doing it for you. They just want to thank the audience. They want to show their appreciation. So please thank them back for staying with us. brickhousenutrition.com/. Promo code Dan. That's code Dan. As well. The BP makes it easy, quick, and safe. Personal at a time. Surveillance and which is common enough to make everyone. The BP does all the hard work by giving you these personal information on the website. Once you sign up, just provide them exactly what information that's listed. The BP also sends you regular personalized transfer showing the company found it. And what right now is someone was very covered life and I might get it stolen, so I'm hypersensitive to how this goes. So take control of your data to your private life and private design. Now with a special discount for our listeners, 20% off your plan. joinwb.com/Bongino. Use promo code Bongino. We're waiting at 20% off. joinwb.com/Bongino. Enter the code.
It won't be renewed, right? So Doge out there, that same day they showed the wasteful spending at HUD and just how crazy it was. So now the speculation is that Doge will have a negative impact on Palantir, although fans of your company who loved your company long before I did, tell me no, this actually is a positive for Palantir.
Well, look, at Palantir, we're very focused on what will make the West superior in the commercial space, mainly here on the battlefield. So even if it were for Palantir, I think it's bad for Palantir. I'd be in favor of it. I mean, how often have critics of Palantir been right? And it's like, look, if you want to reform an institution, whether it's commercial or government or anything, what is the first thing you're going to do?